Okay, Pat has completed his phone call, and once again we're back interviewing Pat O'Hare. Oh, where were we, Pat? We were talking about the original crew and the mats.
And then
4-foot waves.
4-foot waves, yeah. And I wasn't scared really ever. I'm sure we only surfed through the summer and then quit, you know.
Pretty cold in
It
December.
gets cold, yeah. And we used that rope. I used to like a lifeline, like I told you before, and I dug down through a 4-foot wave and came up.
Yeah, help the people out who haven't seen this before. Tell me the story of the rope.
The rope. Well, the rope was always, I could always count on the rope. Till this one day, and it was a good sized day for us, for me, you know. And I think it's Mike Aiken that I was surfing with that lived upstairs from me.
Right.
With his mom. His mom was divorced, which was another culture shock to me.
Back in those days,
but half the people I knew, they lived with their mom or their dad, you know.
Kids.
Yeah, and so we went out, and on the way, I'm sure I got a couple waves, and then I was going back out and dove through one of the waves as it was breaking and came up with the rope, but my mat was on the beach.
Oh. Was that bad?
Yeah, it scared me. You know.
Okay.
I mean, you're looking
well, if it had never happened before, it's now. Obviously, you swam and didn't sink.
I swam, got in. I don't even know if I got rid of the rope. I figured I need to put it back in. You know.
Swim holding on to that
rope? But I didn't trust the rope.
After that, things were a little different. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right, so you got a lot of time in the water with the mat, learned a lot about waves.
A whole summer, yeah. By the time I was 15, though, we were thinking about surfing.
Okay, so it's now time to move up.
Move up, and we shared a board, about 6 of us, one board, and like I said, it was a pain in the ass, and we'd argue about. I didn't get up.
Whose turn is it?
Yeah,
oh, kid stuff.
It wasn't my fault. I was in my board.
It's not your turn.
And the other 5 guys will pull the board from you and say, yeah, well, that's too bad.
Oh, so you had to get your own board.
Yeah, I did. And my first board was a little kicktail surfboard that somebody had made on the Strand there in one of those houses. You know, there was a lot of that.
Garage sold.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. More so than shops sold. You know.
Okay. Yeah, what was the manufacturing industry like that at the time? Was there really any real surfing industry, or was it still
I think it was just blossoming. The only true one that I knew of was Hap Jacobs originally, and he started with Velzy.
Velzy Jacobs. Yeah.
They, I think Hap probably financed it, and Velzy was the entrepreneur.
Yeah, okay, all right.
And actually they shaped under the pier from what I understand.
Those were the days. You try that today and I'm guessing it probably wouldn't work.
They'd shoot you.
Terroristic surfboard shaping under the pier, yes.
And
shocking.
And those guys didn't throw anything away. That was all left there to go out in the tide, you know.
Okay, yeah.
And then they had a shop, and then they must have split up, you know.
All right, so there were surfboards that could be bought from, quote, real surf shops by real surfboard manufacturers. The
first one, like I said, was Velzy Jacobs. Now, it might have been Velzy alone first down there. It's before my time, and not being a historian at 14 or 15.
Yeah,
it was just what it is. What it is.
It is what it is.
And
okay, so your first board was made by who?
Some guy.
Oh, that's right. Excuse me.
I knew the guy, but I couldn't tell you his name now.
One of those
he was a good surfer, and he was a kneeboarder. Look at one of Greg's old movies. It shows Tom Paine kneeboarding, and that was left over from the era before when those guys were all kneeboarding.
Okay.
It's only proof of what I'm saying.
I'd like to look at one of those old Greg Noel movies, but but those have disappeared from the face of the
I
earth. If
have
Greg
them.
is listening, Greg,
Yeah.
if you could find those movies and round them up, you've got a few people out there that would really like to see them.
Oh,
again.
he knows exactly where everything is.
Well, then it is to be hoped that he may show some grace and mercy upon us poor unfortunates that don't have the movies.
Yeah. And
so
then I got to be somewhat different. I got better at it because I got to go out on my own board every day.
How long was it?
Actually, it was short. It was like 8 foot.
Really?
Yeah.
Radical.
Well,
Whoop.
yeah. But they were kicktail knee boards, really, is what they were. They put the kicktail on it so that, what was really popular back then was kicking your board out as high as you could kick it out.
The flyaway kick out.
Yeah.
How many people remember that, I wonder?
I don't know, but I thought it was
a big deal at one time, wasn't it?
Great.
Big deal.
Yeah, I would say 58 was still a big deal. It just started to fade, 57, 58.
Okay.
I saw some of those guys kick their board out as high as the pier, which was...
Oh!
And those piers, they don't... If you're next to one, they're pretty high.
They're substantial objects, yeah. God help you if you were underneath the thing when it came down.
Evidently, I never saw anybody get hurt by it, but they could get hurt.
Wow.
Wow.
So you've got an 8-foot kicktail, balsa, and you're the terror of Manhattan Beach.
Well, I'm out there. There's a hierarchy you don't mess with it.
Tell me about the hierarchy. Let's get into as much of that as we can. That's fascinating stuff. Who was your nemesis? Who was your protector? Who did you look up to, and who did you look down on?
Well, it's just all 4 of those were the same person. They were the lifeguards and the older guys that were out there. I mean, they owned right by the pier, which was. In the summertime, you surf one side of the pier. In the wintertime, you surf the other side of the pier.
Is that because of law or swell?
Swell.
Okay.
More swell.
Okay.
The swell was more south in the summertime and north in the wintertime.
Okay. Now, did you surf? Was it one of those piers with a trough near the pier where the wave broke towards the pier, or was it one of the ones where the wave broke away from the pier?
No, it always broke towards the pier.
Towards the pier, which is the typical pier thing, but sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so I guess on south swells you would be surfing on the south side of the pier.
on south swells, yes.
Okay, I got it. Comprende.
And it was a total culture, and you had to learn everything from those guys.
And I bet they weren't easy about letting you find out, were they?
No.
Oh, give us a few stories.
Oh,
anything
well,
random.
The guy, I know it's Steve. Steve, what did I say his name? Severson.
It's on.
It was very close to Severson, to the magazine guy. His name was, and he was a lifeguard. He lost his job because his vision got to be where he needed glasses, and you couldn't do that job.
Being in the military and your eyes go bad, you quit flying the jet now.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I remember one of my first waves, I turned to the left, and Severson was coming the other way, and I heard him yell at me, and I turned as hard as I could, and I didn't know how to turn really.
Oh, I remember that.
And I turned though, and I could still
the fear made it work.
I could still hear him yelling at me, "Get out of the way, you little shit!" And,
you were still just a kid, right?
Yeah. And but I didn't know how to kick out, so I just tried to go as fast as I could go.
Run away, run away.
And but then the same guys would tell you when a swell was coming. They'd tell you what to look for.
They were helpful.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They just didn't like you.
It was. Yeah. It was. It's not that way anymore, I guess, is it? You learned the hard way back in those days.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah, that's the way you learn.
Yeah, the little kids got beat up by the big kids, and everybody was happy.
And you listen to what they said, because that's the only way you're going to learn.
Yeah. It's kind of a shame they don't do it that way now.
It's all different, but that's the way we look at it.
Yeah.
They don't look at it that way.
No, they don't.
I mean, I get so upset when I see somebody crossing the beach with a pop-out surfboard, and they're carrying it like they're carrying a a Jacobs or a Greg Knoll or, you know what I mean?
Something for real.
Yeah. If I'd have went down to Manhattan Beach Pier with Duke Hanamoka, one of those, you know, and nothing taken away from Duke because he was so big they could make his board.
Yeah, I remember
But
seeing
you
those in
would not.
J.C. Penney's.
Yes, but
yeah.
you would not go to the beach with one.
That's like showing up with a certain large surf shop's label in the town of Cocoa Beach, even as we speak. Yeah,
as we speak. And I made some of those as we speak.
I wouldn't doubt it. Okay, so you had a pretty severe crew, and they didn't fool around, but they knew what they were doing. And
they absolutely knew what they were doing, and they knew how to read as well, without a computer.
Oh.
And I think that's what makes me mad, since I can't use a computer well.
Well, we'll have to put our best guy on that, but that's not for today.
But no, but it's. I used to could read swells really good. Now it's harder.
It's not like a bicycle.
No.
Yeah. But that sounds like some pretty. How long did that go on?
Well, it seemed like forever. I lived in Manhattan Beach, and we got caught up in the beach culture, and I taught my brother to surf somewhat, but he pretty much stayed away from me. He had his own crew that they went with.
I came from a family. I was the only kid that surfed.
I kept trying to turn his foot around because he was a goofy foot.
You didn't like goofy foots.
What are you doing like that?
You're doing it wrong.
Not only that, most of the waves were right waves.
That's the California history. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, Haggerty's, there are places that weren't, but overall they were.
We're going right.
Malibu, yeah.
And you're going to face the wave when you do it.
Yeah.
Or we're going to have a talk with you.
Well, that didn't change it.
Oh. Okay, so this is still in high school, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, what else was going on besides surfing? What were you doing for high school by way of academics or sport?
Academic, I was doing very poorly. In the Catholic school, I was doing really well, but it was an all-boys, very competitive. Everything was competitive, so I was good at school.
Right. But
when I got to Inglewood High, I started raising my hands, and it wasn't. This is not good. That's changed. That culture's changed now. But back then, I can remember in my English class, which was my last period in school, this little old lady was our English teacher, and I thought she was probably 100. You know, she was probably like
might have been 200.
She might probably 50.
Might have been 35.
Yeah. And she went in the closet to get some books or put some books up. And the guy got up and locked the door.
Yikes.
To the closet. I could hear her pounding on the door, and everybody left.
Oh, no!
And I'm going, this is Friday afternoon, man. You can't leave her in there like
Holy, man, that's pretty harsh.
It is harsh, but that, you know, Inglewood was a harsh.
Rough place?
Yeah, it was really rough. Yeah.
So you had to put up with some...
I got her out. And I was scared to death that somebody would find out.
Retribution for doing that. Yeah, okay.
And there was a lot of bullies back then, you know, for everybody.
Fights and everything, all that stuff. And I remember that when I was in high school. So, any sports or anything?
I wrestled in high school.
You were a wrestler?
Yeah.
Okay.
I won, what's it called? I still have the thing that they gave me.
You won. What did you
Better
win?
Los Angeles tournament.
Holy mackerel, the whole city.
Yeah, the whole city.
Okay, so you were a real guy.
Actually, for wrestling, I was.
Yeah, that's you can't do that by bullshitting your way through it.
For some reason, it came natural to me.
Okay.
But my freshman year, when I was still at Inglewood, a coach asked me if I wanted to go out for wrestling. I thought he was making fun of me because I weighed like 85 pounds.
Come to find out you were okay with it.
Well, yeah, they have weight classes, 90,
right.
93, 95, 98, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And when I got to Maricosta, they said the same thing to me. And the reason I thought they were making fun of me is me and my brother spent our first summer there watching midget wrestling. And it was great.
Okay. Wrestling. There's real wrestling, and then there's this
fake,
other stuff.
We loved that, and the tag team midget wrestling was great. Those guys were so good.
I remember watching some of that.
Yeah.
Gordon Soley and all of those. Oh, God.
And so finally, by my junior year, my football coach, 80-pound football coach,
I bet you were hard to get a hold of.
Well, I was what it was a freshman team, and I played on it till I was through my junior year.
You played right on through.
And they wanted me to quarterback my senior year, and I said I'm not going to be the first senior to play freshman football ever.
You had your standards.
Yeah, so wrestling, I did it so I would be good for wrestling. I mean, yeah, for wrestling.
Yeah,
And,
okay. Well, if you took your division for the entire city of LA, you were not an inconsequential person. You were somebody to be respected.
And then I went undefeated all year, the only one on the team that went undefeated. Yeah. And this is kind of bragging.
No, nobody knows about this. Please help us out.
And we went to CIF championships.
What is CIF?
California International Federation.
Oh, some kind of a big...
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought it was really big, which it was half big, because California is so big.
It's a huge state.
It's cut in half, and so we wrestled in one half of the state for state championship, and they wrestled in the other half of the state.
Okay, and you were in the populous half, so you were in the you were in the serious division.
Well, I didn't think there was two divisions, so later I found out.
Okay,
and, the problem was that the two other guys that I wrestled that were close to my size, I had broke my arm the year before with Tommy Brooks on a takedown tournament.
Ooh, what part of the arm?
Right here. It was one of those.
Radius or ulna, one of those two.
What do they call it when it's a double break or
compound fracture?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
and,
serious.
So it ended my wrestling for that year, but the next year I was back.
Okay, you healed up.
Yeah. But then Sammy DeGrace and Tommy Brooks came down. I wrestled at the low weight class through all of that, through the LA championships, and and then they put me up at 120 pounds.
So you're wrestling above your weight?
To about almost 20 pounds above my weight.
Oh!
And
yikes!
The idea was that Tommy Bean was the wrestler at that weight class, and they were afraid he would get pinned. They weren't telling me this. Okay.
They were worried about you.
No, they knew I wouldn't get pinned.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They were worried about you making him look... Oh, or am I missing this here?
No, what's missing is the points. If you get pinned, you lose a point for your team, and we were trying to win the state championship.
Gotcha.
And I didn't get pinned.
You didn't get pinned. Very simple. I can't pin you.
Then I got to go to the Olympic tryouts, and
really?
Yeah.
Real stuff.
And I beat the guy that won the Pan Am Games.
Really? Okay, so I'm not supposed to ever get in a fight with you, all right? Note to self, don't fight Pat O'Hare.
No, don't fight any wrestler. But I think it's...
I already knew that part. I just didn't know that Pat was one of those guys. Okay.
My senior year, after our senior year, there was quite a few parties that summer, with all types of people. And I would hear every once in a while that somebody at another party got into it, Barry Hickman or something, and Barry just beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, wrestlers are...
Yeah.
Yeah, they're probably...
And I had a Pef Ike, who's a good friend of mine, and one time, for some reason, didn't like me. Every time he walked into a party, he'd come after me, and I would leave. I mean...
One of those... What is up with... How does that work?
I don't know.
But it happens.
We became friends, but later I'm at the pier one day, and I'm up in the upper parking lot, and him and Jamie Ramey and the other two Ramey brothers and Pef's big brother were there, and so Pef got out and was going to kick my ass. And I have no place to go. So he came at me, and I just beat him until they took me off of him.
Whoa! Okay, so that took care of that.
Yeah, and we became friends after that.
And that's how it used to work in those days. You'd fight each other, and then you'd be friends.
Yeah.
I kind of miss those days.
Yeah, those days are good, although I did run from quite a few fights.
Well, some you win and some you don't win.
I'll see you at the bike, where you...
After school.
After school, yeah.
And there's a big crowd of people.
I'll be on the bus.
I guess you can't do that now. I guess if you try that now, there'll be like cop cars parked out there or something.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully, because the bullies are bullies.
The bullies are, well, and they just find other ways to do it. It's never going to change.
Yeah. No, that's
nature.
that part.
Never
But
gonna change.
some of them get caught, and I think it settles it down somewhat.
Yeah.
It's sad
Yeah.
what bullies are capable of.
Okay, so you have got a background as a pretty intense guy that I don't think anybody around here knows about. Okay,
Yeah.
which would, and if I may editorialize a little bit, it seems like anybody that gets to a certain level in the world of surfing, usually if you dig into those people's personality, there is some intensity there that the standard issue human being does not possess.
Yeah, I think
So
there is too.
I think I'm in the presence of
Yeah.
another one of those guys. Okay, I didn't know that about you at all.
Yeah, I wrestled with Dewey Weber.
I hope you beat him.
No, I didn't wrestle
Oh.
against him. El Camino Junior College. He came back to
Okay.
school. He was about 22, and I was 18 probably.
Okay.
And we wrestled. He was a state champion wrestler.
He was also a wrestler. Okay.
Oh,
see,
he
I
was
don't-
great.
yeah.
He was really great.
You marvel at this stuff. You hear about these names and these
Yeah.
people, and you don't know it. Which is why I'm going so on and on and on. If anybody's watching this and is wondering why I'm spending so much time, there's an awful lot of history and background here that is helpful to explain things that
Yeah.
occur afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your
Well-
intensity and
You don't know about that intensity until you do it.
most people don't ever do it. Most people seem to be content to just blob along. I don't know.
Yeah. I wasn't that way about wrestling.
No,
I
when you
loved
wrestle,
it.
you can't be a blob.
Yeah.
Okay, so surfing and wrestling, we're now out of high school. Then what happens?
I still surfed. I wrestled at a lot of those gyms, you know.
I don't know what those gyms are.
The gyms that you find in LA with guys
You're talking to an idiot.
that were wrestlers at one time, and really they had trophies in their locker and stuff like that. And Fernandez was the one that got me to do that, my coach, my high school coach.
So we're talking the 1950s here, right?
Yeah, 60.
Early 60s?
Oh, 60, 59, 60.
Okay,
yeah.
right at the turn of that decade.
Yeah, and most of those guys, God love them. I like wrestling there, but they have cauliflower ears, and they
It's not a career choice.
no, and I'm going. And he says, I'm getting ready to come back. One of my I remember him saying that, and I'm going, I bet you are.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it is.
That's very sad, actually. Yeah.
And,
Yeah, that's like out of a lot of those black and white movies from back then. The
Yeah.
gym, the boxer, and
Yeah.
we forget now that culture, especially in Cocoa Beach, where no such thing obtains.
No. So
Okay.
that was probably. I spent a couple years going out there whenever I could and wrestling with those guys.
What
And
were you
then
doing to support yourself?
Me, I was working at Mattel Toys in the Chatty-Cathy line
That's pretty cool.
at night.
That's pretty. Okay, so you could surf in the day.
Yeah.
So you had already gotten to the point where surfing was so dominant,
It dominated
Did it
everything.
change
That's
your-
why wrestling. I got away from wrestling.
and surfing also pushed wrestling out. Okay, same story over and over. Same story with people that surf.
Yeah.
It just takes over their
Yeah,
life.
it does. It takes over your life.
Any regrets?
No, actually not. No.
Good for you. Good for you. All right, so we're working at night in Mattel Toys. We're in LA somewhere in some god awful building. I'm sure it was a charming job.
Yeah, it was in that
Yeah.
section where they did all the plane work. You know what I mean? Stuff made things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And
A factory.
Mattel Toys. It was a total factory.
This is before all the factories went to China, guys.
Yeah.
Back in those days, they were still over here.
And the best job you could get was running those things, those forklifts.
Okay, forklift driver.
Okay.
Yeah, here we go.
And I had a couple of friends running the forklift, and I'm going, you should see if you could get in this. This is good for you. And I went, I'm not going to be here that long.
My path lies elsewhere. Okay, this now takes us to the point where you're out of high school, you're working, surfing has already taken over your life to the point where you're making career choices based on waves. This is probably a good place for us to break right now.
Yeah.
This has gone on a long time, so I'm going to turn off the machine.
Okay, that's good.
Thank you, Pat O'Hare. We will get more of this as soon as we can. Thanks, everybody, for watching.
I get all teary.